Alrighty, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna institute a little change as well in our setup. We're gonna be going over and the French defense. We're gonna do some French defense. I'm thinking I have a section on that already. Let me see, do I have a section on that? Play the French, there we go. Did we do the advanced variation already? I think we have done that. Yep. Let's see. Where are we? Okay, we have to get a new we're entering the this is the Rubinstein variation. I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's knight d7. Then it's move 5. No, put that together and then just space this out. There we go. There we go. And so in the Rubinstein variation, we can actually enlarge this here. Is it goes e4, e5, e6, d4, d5. The Rubinstein variation is actually knight d2. Oh, sorry, that's not the Rubinstein. Sorry, the Rubinstein. Hey, how you doing? We're going over a little bit of the French defense here, just some studies on that. Oh, you got another game? Okay, we could post it in. Okay. Oh, I gotta ask. Let me see here. I got to. What was the move on move 21? Because you have just a D for white. On move 21, you have just D. It won't allow me to put it in unless I have a move for 21. On move oh, okay. Gotcha. There we go. Now we got it. Got it. Good. Ooh, so you did the Dutch defense. Okay. So you're then black here. Okay. Oops, hold on. Hey, how you doing? Alright, good. Just gotta get a sip and we'll get started. Nice. The Dutch defense is a pretty solid opening for black, but it's all based on if white can get e4 in or black can get e5 in. So it's all based on whoever can get their e pawn. So that's kind of, ooh, nice. You got it. You got it in right away. That's actually a good move there. This is probably an exclams move right there, because to actually get e5 in at this stage is pretty hard to do. Because then what you can actually do is clamp down on your opponent with e5. Even if you played this move here, h6, and you took, actually you probably wouldn't want to. Well, I guess you may have to take at that point, and then you can actually take, and now you have targets to take scope on. And if he tries like a bishop pin here, you could come up, and if he tries checking here, there, and if he tries something like trying to undermine it with c5, you can always castle. And then if he tries breaking down the wall, you can always take here. And then I like white in this position just because of the pawns here. And he does, you got to be careful there, so you really can't take with the queen. You'd have to take with the knight, so that's out of the question. And then if he plays here, then you can actually take with the queen. That's protected. And then the knight comes out, you take, and then you have rook e1. And you see how controlling, getting rid of the e5 pawn really makes a huge sway in the Dutch defense. Black's actually almost lost at this point. So I'd say close. I know this sounds really odd, but e4 almost means that black is lost. That you got e4 in means that black is close to being lost. Because usually what your opponent would do before this knight maneuver, I mean, not the knight maneuver, but before e6, they usually could set up for c5 or c6, and if you bring the knight out, then you have d5, and that puts a clamp down on e5. See, when he played e6 here is what allowed. Sorry to go back here. When he played e6, this was actually a mistake because it allowed e4 to be played, and black should never have allowed that to happen. They should have at least tried something like h6 here, and then even if potentially they could get this in, they can actually trade down, and even if you got your knight involved, they can actually play e5. I know that's kind of a little risky, a little bit, probably not now. E5 probably wouldn't be the best. Probably d5 now that I think about it. So you'd have to not e5, d5. Then when the knight retreats back, then you can actually potentially bring out the bishop and play something similar to e5 here. But it was a miracle that you actually got e4 in at this early of a stage. Usually black doesn't allow that, so that's actually really good. I'm not surprised that you won now. e6, pawn takes. Yeah, this is almost won. Yeah, so you have to be careful. Yeah, so you have to be careful. I usually don't play the Dutch, but I know a lot of lines in the Dutch. Um, you have to know some of the openings that could arise out of the into the French. Like the French could actually bring about a Dutch defense in some scenarios. You could start out a French, but what happens is it turns into a Dutch. So you have to have some of the knowledges. Like that's why Grandmaster Simon Williams talks about that after you get to be like a master of the French defense, you should branch out as black to the Dutch defense, because the Dutch defense and the French defense are only a couple moves different. But you can actually start a Dutch defense with some believe that actually e6, I think it was Marshall said that e6 is actually a better line of starting the Dutch defense. And even if you can get e4 in, you kind of have a French type of setup even here. See how you have your French setup, and then even if you have that, then you can play c6, and if you try like an advanced variation, you could actually at this point play f5, and then if he takes, you've developed a knight. So this is actually a pretty nice French if you want to think about it. This French has the bishop that can go to e6 and then castles. So like if white developed, you have bishop e6, and then if the bishop comes out, you castle, and this is a really actually good French. And if he castles, then you always have the potential development of a knight to bd7 and e5. So it's a pretty good French. Maybe even if you wanted to set up for rook e8 to be able to push the pawn to e5. So it all depends. Marshall believed that it was better to actually start the Dutch with e6. He just said it's more solid of an opening. He said a lot of Dutch players play f5, but he says that's kind of a little risky, because he says that e4 could actually get played at that moment. And he said that e6 allows for, let's say you didn't want to go into the Dutch. Let's say he plays e4 here. You have the ability to go into a French if you wanted to, rather than a Dutch. And so you kind of can switch your intentions, maybe rather more towards the king side. Yeah, it's something similar to that. But that does happen. So just a little bit of Dutch understanding that I have. I'm still in improvement in the Dutch. I don't dare play it. I like the setup, how solid it is. I like the French. So d4, there you go. Takes, and then knight takes. Yeah, man, you're totally owning here. Check. Yeah, it is. He does a lot of the stat and gambit. He actually did the Miller gambit or something like that, Muller gambit, and then he even tried the Rice gambit, which is a pretty interesting. You sacrifice, I believe, 2 pieces in that gambit. I didn't believe that there was a gambit named Rice gambit, but I actually played it out. The first like 12 moves of Marshall versus, forgot the guy's name, it was some odd name, and it actually said Rice Gambit, so I was pretty shocked that there was a gambit named that. Yeah, Blackburn's Damir's Gambit was played. He said that there wasn't in this back in 19, I think, 1905 or something in his games. He said the Black Damir's Gambit wasn't really analyzed as much. He gave up a gambit, one of the gambits, because it got analyzed to the T, and so he had to give up some of his gambits because some books were written on it or wrote on it. So some gambits at certain levels you can play, but when you get to the higher level gambits, you have to higher level players. You are gonna have to be more solid. But that's for another time and different play. So rook HE1, and then knight. King F6. I gotta say, I like that. Hey, how you doing? Play okay? Good to see you're here. B6. We're looking at Chess 360's one of his games. Oh, nice. That's good. Well, the Lord be glorified always in that, so I can't take credit for it. Oh, nice. So, okay. All right, there. That's actually really nice. I like your positioning. I think you have a really good game here. You're up I believe, a pawn, and you're gonna win the bishop or a rook. Sorry. So that's good. You have to always though play chess 360. You have to always weigh is exchanging my knight a good idea, and in this situation it is a good idea because the position isn't really, there's one open file and you control it, but you always have to weigh your pros and cons when it comes to that, and you don't really want to stick a rook on e5. So sticking a rook on e5 would actually be a mistake because of c5. You'd be able to double, but he'd be able to win his pawn back. But it's just, you have to always be that. So you were wise to actually place it on your rook on e3, but again, there's only one type, kind of sitch that's a pain in the drain. He could play f4. F4 is kind of a pain, but I think because you can't put your rook on a light square because of the discovery. If you put it on like e4, I guess you'd still be okay for one move. And then if you did this, I guess you have that. And then this is kind of you'd have to play, you can't really play there because check. And then I'm thinking that you potentially have f3, and could we actually play here? Yeah, I'm not sure if that actually leads to mate. I was trying to find a way that it could potentially would lead to mate. Maybe if we set up rook, but he does have that. Well, maybe we actually could set up a mate like that. Bishop takes. No, he would then, after we tried playing h3, he can actually flee. Well, maybe here and then check and then now we take. He takes there, and then we grab material. That is interesting. I still prefer white here. And then you have a pawn that's hanging, so if bishop there, bishop to e4, protecting it. You potentially could actually even trade down the exchange. I know that seems like what, but you'd have to be careful of this passer. So you gotta always be on your tippy toes, like I say, is with this type of move. He's going. I don't really understand this move here. I don't really see a point to it. I think this was kind of a. I guess it is trying to cause a little chaos, but it's trying to stop you from doubling. But you could actually play c3 and then double anyways, like potentially there. So, that is kind of interesting. So maybe you can actually double this way, and after pushing there, you have that. Then you actually have pass pawn. If he plays there, he play rook up. Then you have king there, and you can actually play f4, and then he would have to move back. That'd be interesting. And then you have you can actually take, and if bishop takes, he'd walk into a pin. So it wouldn't be really pleasant at this point with c4 coming. So you'd actually have to trade down at that point, play rook takes, and then he could play there. But you could actually, even though he gets a pawn, you can get this side pawn. Is it beneficial? I'm not sure if you could actually play. So he might actually try bishop f1, trying to stop you from coming in, but it doesn't stop b7, rook b7, and rook takes b6, check. So interesting. You always have to think of what's your next plan going to be, because c4 does seem like an active move, but potentially maybe rook h. Oops, what did I made a mistake there. Let me see. So f4. Oops, sorry. Yeah, but you always gotta just be on guard. Nice. So now you got a pass pawn. This is going to be a Grandmaster Simon Williams and International Master Andrew Martin would say. It's going to be a bone in the throat of his opponent. And then b7, bishop b7. Yeah, that's game, set, and match at this point. Did your opponent resign here? Play 360 or chess 360. Did you? Okay, because there's really no hope at this point. It's game, set, and match. There's no way he's going to be able to stop losing a piece. He can't. Your opponent, whoever you played, wouldn't be able to stop that. I'm trying to see what. I'm wondering if c5 might have been your opponent's best chance here. I'm thinking that. Yeah, good job. Congrats on winning those games there. You know what? It's not easy when you get when you get to the upper echelons of players. Okay, perfect. That's perfect. And we'll go over this variation really efficiently, and then we'll get into our puzzles, and then we'll get into our end game. So we'll go over the first variation in the Rubinstein variation. So d4, d5. This is the start of the French. Knight c3, and then knight. Actually, knight d2 or knight c3 could transpose into the French setup. And d takes, but this actually transposes into a kind of Tarrasch variation. So I think I'm thinking that knight c3 is kind of a if you take here, this is the Rubinstein variation, and then knight d7 here. I think, let me see. Knight takes, 4, yeah. Oops, I think I did a blunder on putting in the notation. Hold on. It's not move 5, 1 second. It's actually move 4. There we go. There we go. Now we got that fixed. d7, move 4. Knight f3. And then knight gf. This is so you can replace, if he takes with the knight, you can reload it, as in Tactics from Scratch. And that's what he does, is take with check, and then we take. And then bishop g5, pinning the queen. h6, bishop takes. There's actually we're going to be seeing that there's a kind of another line that you can actually go down. It's not a modern opening. This is actually what was played. There was a line that you could actually take with G. Excuse me, a cough there. G takes f6 as a line. You get the bishop pair in this, yeah. Yeah, it's Rubinstein's variation. This is also a line, but we're not going to go into it. I'll just keep it. You could do that. Grandmaster Simon Williams says that this is more of an aggressive line. If you want more of a, it's also from the Modern Chess Opening, Nick Deferman's book. This is from his, but Ginger talked that if you wanted more aggressive, G takes f6 or G takes f6, and actually his nickname's Ginger. It's actually Grandmaster Simon Williams. So, but if you're wanting, he said, a more solid position, you want to take with the queen, because then you don't wreck your king side. And so that's that. Okay, bishop b5 check, and then c6, bishop d3. So what White's trying to prove, yeah, you could castle in that line too. What White's trying to say to Black is this check, because the check's like a check and then come back. But what happened was, now the bishop that would have went to d7 can't have any scope along e8 to a4 diagonal. So we play bishop d7 anyways, because we potentially have the idea of playing c5 and trying to knock down the center with a wing pawn, not a central pawn. c3 was played, and then bishop d6, This is also to take scope along these diagonals as well. This causes a lot of chaos. If the bishops would be better placed if they were on d4 and d5, but this is okay as well because they'd be on the long diagonals at that point. Or maybe the light square bishop, might be better on d5, and I think the bishop on d6 is still okay. Depends on what diagonal you want to dominate at that point. So queen e2, and then c5, like what we talked about, is played here. This is the end of the opening line, so I'll put only move. There is a game that applies to it though. It's Anon versus Ivacek, Montreal, or Monte Carlo, 2004. So we'll go over what White played. Castles, C takes D, C takes D, and then Queen E7. Anon is white, and Ivacek is black. So queen there, knight E5, and bishop takes E5, pawn takes E5 of course, and then bishop C6. This is in Nick Deferman says that this is an equal position right now. I believe there's a game that it probably would go to if we wanted to. Yeah, here it is. So white actually won in this one. White actually won. Interesting. So if you wanted to explore it further in the game, the game is available on. I gotta get this pen here and put it in there. This game is available on Twitch, not Twitch. Sorry, lichess.org, or not org. IC Chess. No, Lead Chess. I think that's what they call it. Okay, dokie. We'll now get into doing some puzzles. Some of our puzzles, and then we can get into some of our endgame. Hey, how you doing? Don't know how to pronounce all that. 199011010A. Hello. But welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. So, and you're more than welcome, once I get the puzzles in, you're more than welcome to participate with the group. So welcome aboard. Yeah, we just study and have a good time with puzzles and stuff, so I usually don't play. We just do puzzles and end game, and then if you have a game you wanted to go over, we'll go over that game. And this is more of a, as I like to say, a learning site to help improve the chess community. And the Lord's given me a gift, and I want to share it with you. It's a blessing to be able to. Let's see here. I think we have this. Let's see. Let's see there. Oops, I almost forgot a pawn. Let's let's see, so that's good. We got that there. We're good here. We're good. We're good here. Oops, I need a queen. That would help. That makes a big difference. That's good there. Now we're good. And now we're good. We should be good now. Oops. There we go. Okay. Let's see, what do we got here? Yep. Well, let me see. Let me make sure I have this as 100%. Yeah, that's it. I think he can actually flee at that point. See if we take here, and I think the king can flee. Maybe knight takes is an idea. I think this is, and if he flees there, nope, that's not mate. So let me see here. That's not mate either. Oh, the bishop intercepts. Yeah, if he takes, it's mate. I'm just trying to figure out. Oh yeah, that would work. Yeah. I knew there was a knight move that worked. And so now we also have if he moves there, yeah. You block the bishop and you're good and ready to go. The whole idea is blocking the bishop. So there we go. Great job. Alright. Yeah, I was looking at that mate, but we had to do like what you were saying, the mate in 2, so we don't have that luxury yet to actually be able to do that. Let's see, 2, 3. Let's see there. That's 4. That's 4, and that's 3. Okay. Smother mate. That would be nice if, but H6 doesn't work at that point. Oh, that's funny. That's cute. Yeah, you're doing great. Okay, so far, I think there's only one pawn gone out of every one of them. Oh no, there's two for white. And the queen got a little too greedy. Black's queen got a little too greedy and came into the position a little too much. And that's not too wise. It's not about material, it's about checkmate. And black's gonna find that out the hard way when they get checkmated. Let's see, so that's good. That's still good. That's good. That's good there. That's good there. We're good here, here, and there. Perfect. Oh, the theme must be Smother Mate. That must be the theme that Father Pogar is doing, is Smother Mate. Yeah, nice job, team. Keep up the good work. Wow, this is kind of interesting to say the least. So good, still good, still. We're good, and we're good. Okay, let's do it to it. Queen takes. Nice. There we go. Good job. Keep it up. So we have white has two bishops, two rooks, one knight. There we go. Two rooks. Two bishops. Knight. And then white has a queen. Black has a queen. Oops, let me see here. I gotta make sure I got this. There. Okay, still good. everything's operation. Oops, I forgot the kings. That would really be helpful. That would be a helpful thing if I had the queens on the board. I mean, kings, I mean. I have the queens on the board. Okay. There we go. Puzzle Rush is really fun. I been playing it a little bit recently. It's pretty fun. Bishop. There's your mate. I think if if any move if he moves any move besides taking, then like if he moves a rook, if he moves a queen, if he moves a rook, if he moves a knight, pawn, or bishop. I'm thinking even if he takes bishop takes h6, we have bishop h7. So even if he takes our knight with his bishop, we still get mate. So that's a pretty sweet forcing combination move. Alrighty. This has less material on the board, so hip hip hooray. Less I have to put in. That's really nice. One rook. One rook. One bishop. One bishop. King. And then king. Okay. Good, good. Still good. Still good. Still good. Perfect. Alrighty. We're doing stellar here, so let's see what we got here. Yeah, but there's actually... Oh, good, you found the other mate. Good job. Good job. You found the other mate. Nice. Bishop takes, and then rook c8 mate. If king takes, then bishop c4 mate. Yep. There you go. Nice. Nice job, team. That's a funny emoji with the eye. Let's see, 3, 1, 3, 1. Okay. go. I think there's no other way but that. That's the only mate. Sometimes we get the ability to have 3 or 4 different mates or 2 mates, but on that one, not so much. Oh, good. Glad to have you back. Wow, the king is really open to the world of an attack. Oops, I need to. That's a knight. Had the rook in the wrong spot and the knight in the wrong spot, so it's a good thing I checked that again. Oops, forgot a bishop. There we go, we're almost there. So far so good. Got my bishops, got my knights. Alrighty. This is I'm not sure what he does after king f4. Bishop h6. I don't think it is it. Is it actually? No, it's not mate. It's not mate here. I think we have e5. He could play e5. Maybe it has something to do with f4. Check. Rook takes f4. No, that doesn't work. That can't be right. Maybe check there. King takes. So close, but he has that. If we play there, he gets our knight, so that's not. That doesn't play out to what we want. thinking maybe it might be queen C, and then if he plays here, nope, that's not mate. Drat. So that's not mate. Maybe bishop takes and no, that is not mate either. F takes here, king there. F6 doesn't work, so that's a move that they're going to play. So we have to find another sequence of moves that actually works. Yeah, the knight takes. Let's say that rook takes, king comes up. Ah, so close. Nope. Rook check there. King takes. Nope. Just looking at all the checks that we can do. So you check. Nope. Nothing here. That doesn't work. I'll give you a second to work it out. I'll be right back. See what you find out on this this one here. Let me just quickly make sure I have it all set up right before I go really quick. Let me see. No, it's all right. It's correct. So all of it's correct. There is a mate somewhere in there. I'll give you a little bit of time to think about it. Okay. Let's see, you found it. A6, king takes, and then bishop. Yep, good job. You guys are funny. He has, if you do that, then he's got king D. Nope, it's not checkmate. King, king E3, king E3. So congratulations, team, on finding the mate. Congratulations. Oh, I did? Oh, okay, let me see here. Well, then we'll have to reset that up. We'll have to just do a quick setup and we'll find out after this what it is. Okay, Doki, let's do it to it. There you go. So we'll clear it out and really quick set this one back up and just find out what it is, because that's kind of a difficult one. It's really quick because we found the other ones that actually work. Oops, too many bishops there. That's funny. You're gonna play without your king. There. Okay, let's see what actually the mate is. So it's king e6 check, rook f4, and then queen e3. So let's write that out. There we go. Now we'll get into the other one. There we go. So I can't wait. We're going to be doing some Rubinstein openings. Not openings, endgame. We're at that part. Bishop, queen. Actually, we only need a rook. Rook, knight, bishop, and then I think we have 2 pawns there. There's there. 4, 2, 2. I think it still works. It still works. Yep. There you go. I think this one's a pretty straightforward one. Excuse me. Yeah. If he takes, then queen f2. If he moves, king b4, then queen E mate, and then C3 is mate too. And I think also queen, nope, that's not mate. Because the pawn could block. Yeah, there we go. So onward and upward. One last one, and then we start our end game. Hip hip hooray. Where's the black king though? The black king, where can you be? There we go. Right there. Okay. Okay, this is the last one. Okay. There we go. So F4, king takes, and then bishop H3 is mate. Yep, good job. Let's check out. Let's get into our endgame now. Endgame time. This is a game between these two players. Hold on, I'll get this back up here. Um, Black has an excellent winning chance thanks to the road along the A2-2. So Black's got a really good winning chance. A2, where's the A2? A2 to G8 diagonal. This diagonal here. This is a really nice diagonal. The king has this to walk down. By mixing an attack against B2 and the threat at White's king against White's king will bring the precise two weaknesses for the influence of the king to actually come in. So king d5, starting the journey to b3. That's his final goal. Rook h d1, king c5. His goal one step from his desire. One would have thought that Black would have played the immediate oops, not c4, sorry. It's that was my bad there. It's actually the immediate c. It's not. He went c5. One. So he was thinking. He was saying one would think that you'd want to go c4 when d4 check. b3, rook b4, king c2, rook g1, c5, rook g2 check, rook b1, rook e4, bf 8 check, king e3, king g3 is it's no better either, because rook h g8. It's also easy, so rook h3 check, king d2, king takes, b2 wins. He actually found c4 that the immediate Fritz, when Fritz was on the top, the immediate rook c2, king b3, rook ad1, rook b e8, king g5, and this is an exclam that Fritz said. Look ef8, and then rook g6, exclam again. Rook hg8, king h7, rook g3, rook h1, rook fg8, rook h2, Oops, that's the wrong rook. Here. When rook exchange isn't possible, the weight king prevents the rook mate on h8, while the enemy rook check on the rest of the h-file are stopped by the rook on h2. So that's kind of an idea. Black can avoid this by playing after rook e2 here. He can avoid this by playing the brilliant f8 check, which, not brilliant, but good move or excellent move. When white doesn't have time to set up the defensive formation of king g5, he doesn't have this formation set up. Rook f3, and then king g6, rook g8, king h7, rook fg3, rook h1, rook gh7 check, king h6, and then rook g2. And it wins. Rubinstein made the decision to move his king to c5 instead of c4 because it's much better practical decision here. He's in no hurry to get to c4. He's in no hurry at this point. Whenever he wishes, he can actually enter b3. Why leave c6 undefended? In some lines, you can safely move to b3 on your own terms. Why add a number of calculations you have to make by giving white's rook a chance to check on d4? Note that Rubinstein refuses to give his opponent any counterplay at all. In some lines, the rook's power on the 7th rank, black's king will have the opportunity to move to b6, and then potentially later on maybe even c4, and thus c5 is more flexible than king c5. It's more flexible than king c4. That's why he actually played it. Rook d2, rook h, f8 check, king g3. A Zugzwang occurs. 1 second, I need to get a drink. Hold on. Much better. A Zugzwang occurs if he plays king e3 here, because of rook b, e8 check, king d3, d8 check, or d8 check, king c2, rook takes c2, king takes c2, and rook f2 check, and he loses because he can't come down to c1 because, excuse me, that was a hiccup. He loses rook, so the only move he can do is king d3, and then the rook would come in and pick up the pawn. So we'll promote this to the main variation. There is a Fritz formation if he rather plays g5, rook f3, g6, g8 check. I think we went over this. King, I think it's FG3, he does this variation again. And after G check here, King H6, then G2. Excuse me, G2, when the threat of H8 forces white to exchange and give up this, so he'd actually have to take here and then surrender this the second rank for for infiltration. So this would happen, and then now we get to come in on our terms and win a pawn. So that's why I played King G3, Rook B7. Simple threat, mate 2. Simple threat of mate 2, because you're checking here, he moves, and then there is mate. King H2. Rook H7, check. King G1. Rook G7, check. Rook G2, rook takes, king takes, and then rook D8 with the infiltration idea. King F3, then rook D2. But now we got to go back to when he plays King H2 here. He could potentially play rook G2, rook check, which transposes into the actual game. So King G2. So I could play that. Or he could play rook D4, rook G there. And I think intercepting, rook takes, king takes, and then rook F. Okay, so I actually had the wrong rook. Sorry about that. This is the rook that we were going after, G7, because we're getting rid of this rook so that we can infiltrate to F2, and then rook B1, king C4, and there's no way, and they are completely hopeless at this point. There's not enough time. If he plays here, we play here. If he plays there, we play takes. We can actually take there, and if he comes in here, we can actually play this. We can actually play it out. Then you always have to remember to be careful. You don't want to do this. This right here, when he plays over here, don't do this, not that move. Let me see, which one was it? Oh, that's right. Don't, when he plays over here, don't play this. That would bring about stalemate. This would be stalemate. You would lose the game, stalemate. This is a double question mark move, a blunder. That would have been a blunder. You would have lost the game. So when he plays here, you check with B3. If he thinks about coming to king B1, then what you do is you play A2 check, because you have to give one pawn up. Then you play king C2, king A3, and then you queen. So just always keep that in your back pocket. 43, 3, so king F, do, 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 do. We'll check. Hey, how you doing? D8, and then F3. So if he didn't want to go F3, but he wanted to play rook to F1, rook D2, F king rook there, king takes, C4 is resignable after here. We get the same type of setup with that. And we get the same type. You could try something like this and push, but I'm thinking that there's no way to stop now the queening. There's no way to stop queening. So that's why he said it's resignable if he would have done that. If his opponent, Rubinstein's opponent, would have done it. King A2, rook D1. Now this rook is paralyzed in place. It's like it's gonna be over. Yeah. Rook H1, King D3, rook G1. Keeping white boxed in and forcing him either to move his king and allow black to infiltrate into C4. So C4 was a mistake because G3 is check, and if king C2, king takes C4. What he's saying here is if after rook G1, if he moves his king to C2, then black puts him in Zugzwang again with king C4. And if the king moves, then the king comes in and this rook is lost. So it's actually over. Our final example for the Rubinstein. Let me see, how much time do we have left? And I gotta just check to make sure. I think we. Let me see here. It's not too bad. Well, yeah, I think. Let me see how much time we got left. Hold on, let me see. Perfect. We have enough time. We got enough time. More than enough time. We just got to get it set up and get a moving and a grooving. We just got to be speedy. Gonzalez, as I like to say on that one mouse was always cool. He was like really fast. Okay, let's see. Good, we're there. Good. There. Yeah. Basically, you got it. Black to move here. You got it. This is Rubinstein versus Alekhine. Carlsbad, 1911. It's black to move here. What would I'm going to give you 1 minute to decide. What would you play for black? The move actually is a bad move, but what would you play for black? What would you play for black here? It was a question mark move that Alekhine actually played, which is surprising since Alekhine was a master of the endgame. He did a question mark here. Not a double, but a single. It was shocking. No, that would probably still be a good move. That'd be actually a double question mark. Yeah, black to move. Black to move and question mark. Black to move and question mark. I don't think that would actually maybe be a good move. King c8 might actually be a good move. You have to think of a question mark move. I'll give you 1 more minute to think about it, because this is a longer end game. And okay, I'll give you 1 more minute. What would be a question mark? A6, but it's a rook move. I'll give you a rook move. I'll give you the hint. It's a rook move for black. Okay, I'll tell you right now. Okay. Rook e8 is actually a question mark move. Rook e8 is a question mark move. The first thing that both sides had to do was determine if the pawn endgame after rook c8, rook takes, this right here, what you talked about chess, was this right here. They had to take a look and see if it's actually beneficial. The answer is actually no, because what would happen is e4 and Rubinstein would potentially be winning at this point, because e5, and then he's got a passed pawn, and then if he plays g5, you have to remember to play g4. F takes g4. Not F takes g4, which would be a double question mark. This would be a double question mark here. I'm thinking that he wants g takes f4, and that's what locks it down, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see here. So yeah, f takes g5, sorry, and then h takes g5, and king, surprisingly, f2 is an exclam move. I think if we had played this move here, I don't know if there's any in route. See, that's taken, that's taken, that's taken, that's taken, that's taken, and that's taken. This would actually be a double question mark blunder, taking here. This move taking. So king h f2 allows for the king to come into g3, but taking would have actually been a straight up draw or a blunder. He was saying that you're exactly right. Here, a5 is actually a Martin points out that rook takes and king c7 and rook c6, king b7, king d2, and a4, king c2, king e8, c3, rook c3, and then king b6. Having missed this opportunity, Alekhine faced an endless, basically agony of continuation of what Rubinstein's going to do to him. He missed this line. A5 would have been a really nice line. I think it's a draw at this point. Let me see if there's any other line. Right here. So after e3, if f takes e3, f takes e3, d takes e3, g4, king d7, king e3, king e6. There we go, a little itch there. King d6, king 7, king. Okay, takes, king h5, g takes h, king f3, king d5, and f5. And remember, these two pawns protect themselves. Remember that in our endgame. If they're 2 pawns away and they're on the 4th, and it's like this, they actually protect themselves. Because if he takes, there's no way to stop this pawn from queening. So 2 squares away on the 4th, or one square independent on the 4th, and the king's close enough to defend, then it's these 2 pawns protect. Okay, now we gotta go to 4. I think, let me see here. King d7 instead of the other move, g4, king e6, king f2. We're going to try to infiltrate in. King e7, g takes f, g takes f, and then king g3, and now we've made an in route and we have this passed pawn to be a decoy. You gotta love it. Hold on, okay, you were saying after a5 if bishop takes, if he plays a4 instead of king c6. Let's see here. I think we can actually block with a6 at this point, and if takes, we queen first and we stop the queen. We actually stop the queen at that point. So you could actually block. and you would actually, yeah, you would have to, you'd be able to take the pawn, he'd take your pawn, and you have, let me see, you have 5 and he has 4, and so you'd be able to pick up this pawn right here. You'd be able to pick up the pawn, and he does have check, and eventually what would happen is you'd walk up here. You'd have to be careful. And if you try to win a pawn, something like this, you have that. And if you win there, you win there. And it's like, I think it's losing. Let me see here. Where did I go awry? Okay. Boom, 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 do, 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 do. G4. Okay, if G, this is actually a double, oops, wrong. If F takes G5, H takes G5. So this would have been a double question mark blunder. Giving black a drawish fortress. Simple though, it looks very impressive. White's king can't participate, thus the game would be a draw at this point. So king d3. Why is white so much better here? Here are several reasons. White's rook is more active than black's. White's 1 queen pawn holds black's 2 back. Black's king is not really doing much and out of play. And the C7 and C8 squares are, he's basically barricaded to only 2, and we control 6 ranks, or yeah, 6 ranks, right? And G4 move will create a, G3 to G4 will create a whole nother weakness for black to have to worry about. And finally, black is passive and can't do anything but wait for white to improve and improve and improve. Rook e7, G3, bishop, queen e6. I'm gonna go through the main line, then we'll go back to some of the other points, and we'll then pick up the sublines there so you can see the main lines. King there, rook h1, king e6, rook c1, king d7. Remember, this is cat and mouse. He's being patient. He's waiting. He's waiting for his opponent to make a mistake. King d6, rook c1. He's waiting for his opponent to slip up 1 bit. Yeah, he says he's wearing down his opponent by simply doing nothing. But just wait. He's just wearing Alekhine down. King f7, king f2, king f8, king g3, king e7, e8, rook c3, king e7, king h4, h6, king g3, h5, king h4, because now that's become a weakness. king h7, king g5. So now we've entered in f takes h4, f takes h4, h takes g4, king takes g4, rook h1, king g5, rook b1, rook a3, rook takes b8, king rook takes check, king d6, king takes g, rook b3, f5, rook takes, f6, g3, king h7. We're kind of doing a, if you notice, what do we have here? Yeah, and we've studied this in chess. What if our king gets to f8 and our pawn gets to f7? What do we have? I'll give you a second to think about. What happens if we get our king to f8 and our pawn to f7? What is that called in an endgame? What is that word called? What is that position called? Starts with an L. It has a name. Rook f3. What is the name of that position? Because we studied it. And you have to be able to remember what it is. Yep. There we go. Good job. Stellar work. You got it. And we know that a Lucinda is actually, oops, right, not king d8. Lucinda is a win. It's actually a win for white. F4, king g5, exclam. So we have a Lucinda setup. Rook f1. King g6. King f6. Hold on, what am I missing here? G6. F1. Okay. Hold on, what did I missed something here. I got it. Sorry about that. That was my bad. I knew I missed something. Rook F. And then king g6. This was a exclam move too. He had 3 exclams right back to back. King f6 was played after rook f, king g6. What am I? I'm doing something awry here. Let me see. I have to go back to 31. What did I do? That's so king g5 was right. F1, 32, g6, rook g1 check, king f6. Got it. I'm doing better now. Okay. Rook f1 check, king g2, rook g1, king f8, rook d2, d1, king e8, king rook e1, king d8, king rook f1, rook d7, king c6, king e8. He says flawless technique by Rubinstein, flawless. Rook f4. e7, king b5. Rook c7. No way. Rubinstein refuses to give his opponent any hints of counterplay. Let's do a quick, let's go back to 4. Move 4. If he'd played rook takes e, king takes e, g takes f5 check, g takes f5. Let me see here. E4, king e7, e5, e6, king e3. Oops, not e3. E3. And we're going to try to get through this f7 so we can see king f2, king g7, king g3, f7, king h4, king g6, king e6. There's the use of the passed pawn. King f6, king h5, king takes, king g5, h5, king takes h5, king d6, king g5, king a5, b takes e, and passing king c6, king takes. This wins. b5, king e6, b4, there, b3, f, b2, there, and here. And basically this is kind of the idea. There's another way of making two passed pawns. And so at this point, if now we're going to move to 10, and we're just going to read a quick thing about after king king e2 here. Finally, he begins his true plan. His king heads to h4. That's what Rubinstein's plan, h4, where he hopes to open up the enemy position or force black to create new weaknesses that he can exploit. So here is the pawn endgame after rook c8 is still lost. Rook takes c8, king takes c8, and g takes f5, g takes f5, and then e4. Simply, which may occur in the position. So he's saying this takes right here is an exclam. So I'm going to try to do the main lines here. So you have the lines from the book. There are sub lines, and I'm going to just do this. Then I got a log because I want you to be able to have it to go over. h4. The threat is for the white king after king h4 to come into g5. That's his threat. So h6 is played. Black had to keep white out of g5, but now the 6th rank becomes a serious weakness. Thus, white brings his king back to e3 and then begins the dance between h6, g6, h6, and a7 with his rook. And this, intending to go king f2 to defend e3, allows rook c6 for white. So the white king wants to come here and the rook wants to go there. This is, they want to, the king wants to relieve the rook of the job of guarding e3. So h5, Alekhine realizes a bit too late he must create some form of counterplay. Thus he avoids going rook e8. Rook e8, king f2, h5, and then rook to a3, which truly does take Alekhine down. So he avoids that by playing h5, but a little too late. King h4. So they're saying that if g takes h, g takes h, and then king h4, this allows rook g7. When white still wins, of course, but why give black's rook free reign and the ability to come down to why does it slip like that? G1. King takes h5, rook g3, rook a3, rook takes f, king oops, that was a mouse slip on my part. I'll see you tomorrow. Be blessed. I'll see you tomorrow. Chess 360. Be blessed. Have fun at your tournament, and always honor the Lord with your talents as a chess player. Okay, rotates check. King e d6. b7. Rook takes e. Rook takes check. King c7. Probably rook c6 check. King d7. Gotta do this one really efficiently. King there. Rook e4 to try to take advantage of that. Rook e4. King takes f. Rook takes d. King e5. Rook e4. King takes d. Rook takes f4. King c5 to try to get in and create a Lucinda position on the other side of the board. Rook f1. King b6, etc. Okay. 19. We're going to go to 19 really quick. It's a good thing that he didn't play king takes g, because this would have been a double question mark mistake here. This is a blunder. Okay, g3. King takes h7. g2. But he has to be careful that the very tempting h4 is actually a blunder for black here. This would be a blunder. Because rook a3, h3, rook takes a7, king e6, and then rook g7, and there's no way to stop. If he tries this move here, the rook comes in and prevents these two from queening. I guess maybe not totally prevents. Maybe maybe he has like a draw or something. If he tries, so they're saying best would actually be h2, rook g6 check, king f7, So that's kind of an idea. He's saying instead of H, there's actually G2, exclam, King C1, H4, Rook A1, and then he could play H3 is actually a mistake. Surprisingly, H3 is a mistake, so it's a blunder. A7 check, and that actually lets white draw. And if he tries King C8, that also is a blunder, which allows F6, F5, H3, F6, H2, F there, King G7. We arrive at the kind of diagram over here. So he's going to queen again. Queening actually loses here. Surprisingly, this is a question mark mistake. It's still a draw here. This is still a draw. Rook takes, queen takes, and then king d6, and there's no way. This is now lost for black. There's no way to stop the queening. If he wants to, he can try queen f2, and then you can actually queen, and if take, it's not check, it's check. So there's no way, there's not enough time to take this pawn, so it's a lost game. And let me see here. I think that's good. Let me see, 19 now. Okay, H, so I have to get to move 21, and then we'll do a quick reading on this. Black's rook has finally gotten out of the box, but white's powerful king and pressure on A7 and D5 and G6 will prove decisive. Okay. Okay, 21. If rook G1 check, king F6, D6, and then rook C6 check, king D7, and then E5, and he picks up the pawn. So let's get to 26. After F6 here, white's active king and far F pawn guarantees victory through some subtle play is still required. Subtle play is still required here. So if let's see here, king H7. If H3 was played here instead, king G8, king G3 check, and king rook G7. Oops, sorry, rook G7, and then we have a really odd Lucinda position, but this is actually still winning for us. And so now we get to F4. Hold on, I need a drink. My throat's dry, and I'll get started again. Much better. Black's last stand. His idea is to check along the fourth rank until white's king blocks it with his own pawn on F8. Then he'll capture the D4 pawn, give up the rook for white's remaining pawns, and draw by running his king to either B7 or D1, somewhere along these, somewhere along these areas here. That's his idea, and he could try to draw at that point. So G3, and let's see, we're at 36. Very nice. White will thwart black's idea by chasing the rook off the fourth rank, and only then allow himself to head to F8. In that case, the D pawn will no longer be under attack. Okay, let's keep going. And then g6. He's willing to head to f8 now. White is. So rook f1. If he's had tried rook f4 again, it would have failed to rook to a8 at this point. And now we have the ability for the king to go back to g4 and then queen, and he'll have to give up his rook. So that now loses. Too late, too little, too late. Okay, we'll get on to move 36, or 39, I mean. King e8. Flawless technique. Black's only hope is to swing the king to c4. And gobble the d pawn. Rubinstein maneuver has prevented this since king b5 would run into rook takes d5. So if he had played this here, rook takes d5, it would run into that, and then it's game, set, and match. So it's all over but the crying. Rook f4, king e7, king b5. Is black going to get white's d pawn after all? Nope. Rook f7, exclaim, no siree, he's not. No way. Rubinstein is always, as always, Rubinstein refuses to give his opponent any hint of counterplay. After rook c7, black resigned due to e4 check, king d7, rook f4, king e7, rook e4 check, king e5, let's see, not e5, rook e4 check, king f6, rook f4 check, king e5, rook f1, king takes d5. So this is actually where the move started, and I'll put a box by it. Only move, but the continuation, and I'll have to put like an exclam. I'll put an exclam. Where the exclam is, it was an exclam move. That's where we stopped. Okay, an amazing demonstration of endgame mastery. So we'll call it on this. Wow, that was a lot. That was a huge one. There's some lines that he went over, but some of them are double question marks. And I was like, I didn't want to teach you bad habit ones. So I will probably call it on this. Do you have any questions? I'll give you a minute to put in there, or 30 seconds if you have anything, because my computer's not lagging today, so that means internet's good. Okay. Thank you for hanging in there, Chess 360. I know you have a tournament tomorrow or going on, but thanks for hanging in there with us and for the end of the broadcast. And thank you all for hanging in there too. I know endgames sometimes can be repetitive, but okay, so nothing. All right. You know what? And I gotta say thank you for hanging in there, team, because I know endgames sometimes can seem very, like I said again already, repetitive, but it's not. It is a very vital part of chess, and it's one of the areas that's mostly neglected, and a game could actually be lost in the middle game, but in the end game with proper understanding you can actually either save and sometimes win a drawn game. You know what? You never know if your opponent makes enough mistakes in the end game. The end game's not forgiving. but the opening and the middle game are forgiving areas in chess, but the end game is where it's decided. So that's why a chess player would should study the end game, the opening, and of course the middle game. There's so much in the middle game, but like tactics, or if you're going to study middle game, is more a tactical build up. And there's tactics in end games, of course, but end games is more solidly based. So just always get a good repertoire of endgame. That's why we're going over it and studying the five greatest players of the endgame. We have 2 out of the 5 done. So I'm going to say that, you know what, we have to put on our Grandmaster glasses. How you go into a chess, how you go into a tournament is very vital too. Your mindset has to be ready, and if you get tired over the board tournament, get up, walk around a little bit, get some water, whatever you have to do. If you got to stretch, or maybe close your eyes or something, and just maybe even if you say a prayer to kind of for just for a second to get your mind back in chess, and then hop back in there. But don't play confused. Whatever you do, don't play. If your mind feels cloudy and you have some time, get up and walk around, because you don't want to play such a great game and then make one wrong move that costs you the entire game. That'd be a tragedy. But okay, so we did the think about, and we have to remember to do the Grandmaster glasses. Remember that we always have to. Every small step begins a long journey. So, yeah, Sarah once said that every long journey begins with one small step. And we have to remember to treasure our victories and learn from our losses, and remember that mistakes do not define you. It's how you handle the mistake that defines you. Bruce Lee also said that our mind is wonderfully made. It does have moments of plateaus, and you just have to be willing, like even in bodybuilding and weightlifting and everything. In everything, it takes time for your muscles, and your brain's a muscle as well. So it takes time for your brain to get better and improve. So just be patient with it. Always remember, though, the Lord's in control, and if you stay true to Him, He'll stay true to you. And what we have to do is remember also that as chess crunchers, we don't give up, we get up. If we fall down, and we get up and learn from our mistakes. Knowing is not enough, you must apply. Willing is not enough, you must do. That was also Bruce Lee's statement. And I'm thinking, let me see. I'm thinking that a talented player also, there's this one quote, I hope I remember it right. I'm still getting it down, is this: talent, hard work will beat talent because talent won't work. That is a sad thing. What it comes easy will easily be lost. So if you work hard for what you have, you'll keep it longer than the players who are natural chess players. But if you are natural and you do love chess, you more the merrier study, and you'll see vast improvements. So I hope that if you are a natural, that you don't take it for granted. Alekhine wasn't a natural. He had to work hard, and he still became a world champion. So it's possible that hard work will get you to whatever a level of chess you want to acquire. But always remember that, you know what, chess crunchers, we're chess crunchers. We hang up our coat, we hang up our hat, we sit down and study when most won't. A chess cruncher does, and that makes all the difference. And remember, the Lord's in control, and always be true to Him, and He'll be true to you. What that means is, true is, if you say that you're going to do your studies, you should be honest to yourself and to the Lord that you're going to do that, because He made you special in that area to do good, and it honors Him by you studying and working. And you can also then, when you get a rating, which is so worth it to get, then you can tutor, and you can have sites. You can also do your own chess site and teach, and then leave a legacy for the next generation to enjoy and learn from. So just a little knowledge from your friendly Chess Cruncher TV. So, okay, then you know what? Remember, as Wesley So says to the Lord Jesus, as I say, God bless. And I'll see you next time on Chess Cruncher TV. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, and evening. And Lord willing, I'll be back on tomorrow. And we'll keep pushing forward and onward and upward. And the next person we're going into tomorrow is Joel Raul Capablanca. So we're going to be doing Capablanca's endgame. So that's going to be really fun. Go Team Chess Cruncher, hoorah, be blessed, and I'll see you tomorrow. I hope everything goes good at your tournament. Chess 360, thank you for the game. And be blessed all. And remember, honor the Lord and have fun with chess. Bye-bye.